Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited to be here for our fifth entry in our Thanksgiving they have the 7-night marathon on Hallmark Channel, and this is our fifth recap that we've done for that week, which is amazing. It's crazy, but we've loved doing it. And today we are talking about the 5-Star Christmas and the Christmas Waltz. And I am film critic Rachel Wagner, and I have with me, I have Dr. Alysa Lucas is here.
Hello.
Yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. How have you been? How is your, we were just saying off air, we haven't talked for a couple of months.
Maybe? Yeah. Who are you? Do I know you?
That's right.
Well, I have to say, Rachel is very smart and had us record ahead for our On Friendship episodes. And I have to say, that really made a difference when I've been teaching college classes during the pandemic. And so our semester just ended. I'm grading. So this is a perfect time to get back together. So, and to kick off winter break. So I'm excited.
Oh, good.
I hope you've been well. I see and I hear all the posts and the episodes, so I know you're busy.
Oh, yeah. I have been extremely busy, which has been good.
Yeah.
I've been glad to be busy during all of this time, because it's actually, we were somewhat sheltered from the virus, I feel like, in Utah for a while, and then finally the last couple of months it hit us, and we had a pretty bad spike, and that we're still in. And so I've been grateful to be busy. So and I've had incredible opportunities, and it's been a great season. But yeah, it's funny. I was just talking to co-host Anne, and just saying how I feel like, even though the December is just about to start, I feel like the end is in sight.
That's so
like the
funny.
end of the season. I know. Most people are just starting up their holidays. For me, I'm like, it's almost done. Woo!
Yeah, this is like your Super Bowl, Academy Awards, Grammys, and all the holidays in one, right? This is great.
Well, and that's also funny because at the same time that I'm watching all these Hallmark movies and Lifetime movies, I am also getting all my award screeners. And so I'll go from watching these like really serious, heavy dramas to watching. And I'm like, nobody else has my life.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine that the Hallmark and Lifetime movies and all that is a palate cleansers between all those serious movies. And these are the ones that bring you joy.
I think so. It's a good balance, actually. I think, to have both.
Yeah, absolutely. Good for you.
If I just had the sugar, I don't know if it would be.
You need a little bit of that spice.
Right. I need the sustenance as well as the can't live on just desserts all the time.
Oh man, that's really disappointing. Actually, I kid. I grew up on Lifetime movies, which are often a little bit more spicy.
That's right. Well, if people are wondering, what about USS Christmas? They are actually going to be, Jess and Casey are actually going to be covering that. This episode's going to air on Tuesday. They're going to cover that on Wednesday, along with the Candace Cameron Bray, If I Only Had Christmas. And
Love her.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And so, if you're wondering, wait, they skipped one. Nope, that's the situation. So we are doing 5-Star Christmas and the Christmas Waltz.
Yes.
And so these are pretty different, and it's gonna be fun to talk about them.
Yeah,
5-Star Christmas is directed by Christy Will Wolf, who we really enjoy, and it stars Bethany Joy Lentz and Victor Webster. In in the lead roles. And the summary is: when a travel writer shows up unexpectedly at their dad's B&B, the Ralston family all pretend to be guests in hopes of a good review. Lisa falls for guest Josh, but can't share her secret. So, what were your overall thoughts about this movie?
I thought it was cute, but I also was like, I knew the twist. Like I was like, that can't be right, and I know we'll get into it, so I don't want to like spoil the twist too soon. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of was like, okay, I feel like this is the twist. I kind of saw that coming, but I thought it was cute, except that I was like, how is Dad going to turn it into a B&B without talking to anyone first? They came home and her room was, what was it, like the cedar room? No, it was, I don't remember all the name. The birch room. That was,
Mm-hmm.
so her childhood room is the birch room at a B&B. And I have to say, my childhood bedroom is now my mom's office, which is equally disappointing. However, they at least were measuring things out as I was leaving for college, so you knew it was coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm weird because the my parents. I grew up in, well, I lived in Maryland from my middle school and high school years, so
Okay.
that's kind of where I consider I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents then moved to California, lived there for 10 years, and then now live in Utah.
Yep.
So they've technically moved like 4 or 5 times
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
so there is no room that it's my childhood
Yeah.
room. So
Yeah.
I didn't have that trauma at least to experience.
Well, and my parents have lived in the same house since before I was born. So it's
Uh-huh.
like, this is
Yeah.
my house, right? But
Right. Um, yeah, so this movie, I feel like I wanted to like it more than I
yeah.
actually did. I appreciate the risk they took doing something a little more madcap, a little more silly than
Yeah.
your typical Hallmark movie. I really do. And I would encourage them to keep trying and
Yeah.
doing more of that, because I think it's good for the brand as a whole to
Mm-hmm.
have variety and have them not all be the same.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it quite pulled it off for me. I especially at the beginning, it was a little better as it went along, but
Yeah.
I found them all to be kind of insufferable and irritating. I mean, especially because you're right in that she's kind of upset about the changes that her father has made, but like, why shouldn't he be allowed? He's a grown man. I mean, I was really turned off at the
Yeah.
beginning by her just being, I thought, unreasonable
Yeah.
about everything. And it does seem kind of ridiculous that they seem like they're close, that she wouldn't have known that there was this major renovations going on
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
changes and
Or that
to
people
the
in
inn.
town are like, "Hey, I heard your dad's opening a B&B." A B and
Yeah,
what?
that she wouldn't know this,
Yeah.
that this would all be a big surprise seems unlikely.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's fair.
All the family I just found irritating.
Well,
And
and
I don't know.
I like your point though. Like I thought it was a cute idea. I found the lead character, not the actress, but the lead character to be over like, yeah, I did not like her. But I
Yeah.
liked the idea of it focusing on the family. Like, I've only watched so many Hallmark movies. Like, you've really sort of took me under your wing and let me watch all these great movies that
Yeah.
I haven't had experience with. So I'm certainly a newbie still, even though we've been doing this for a year or so. But I just was like, I like the idea. Okay, so let me say this. When they introduced her, and then they introduced this guy driving in the car with the girl, I have to say that I thought the guy and the girl in the car were going to break up, and that was going to be her love interest.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out to be her brother, and I was like, okay, see, I thought I had Hallmark ideas, and I was wrong. And I like the
Right.
idea of, like, here's some siblings. We learn about the youngest sister, the brother, her, the dad, the grandparents. And so I like that idea, but I think you're right that the characters when they started. So the idea is that he's opened this B&B and they have to, like, they're trying to get a good review, right? So they take on characters that would be staying at the B&B. They become guests or the chef or the employee. And so, like, their alter egos were a little over the top, like the brother. Like, calm down, creeper. No one is going to come to this B&B if you act weird in the lobby. So, like, I thought it was a cute idea. I did enjoy it. I don't have nearly as many miles of Hallmark movies under my belt, but yeah, it was no Christmas joy. Let's be honest, okay?
No cookie crawl.
No, there were no cookie crawls, which I feel like there were enough B&Bs in this town to make a cookie crawl happen.
Yeah, I think so. That they missed out. Oh, you'd have liked on the Lifetime, one of the Lifetime movies this weekend. They had this. It was Dear Christmas. It's all about a podcaster. You should watch it. It was pretty. It was pretty good. Yeah, and
I'll check it out.
Yeah, and they made the biggest cookies I've ever seen. They were huge, and they were like, "Oh, I'm just gonna eat a cookie," and then they pulled a cookie, and it was like the size of her hand. I'm like, what is happening?
And but, I'm like, was it Snickerdoodle? Because if so, doesn't matter how big it is.
Yeah, but yeah, I thought she started Bethany Joy Lenz. She started on the wrong foot for me in this movie, where I just felt like she was very entitled, very like irritating, but then I did warm up to her more. She's a very likable actress, very sweet. I liked her a lot better in her spring movie, Just My Type, where that one was a lot of fun. And she's been in some other good ones for Hallmark Channel and for Lifetime.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with her. Like, I felt like, it was the character.
Just her character.
Yeah, I want to make that really clear.
Yeah, definitely. And I think they even at one point call her out is that you're the Scrooge and a Grinch rolled into one.
Accurate. No, yeah. Plus, like, a controlling. I mean, I feel like they lost their mom at her early age, and she probably came into that mother role and probably had to take on a lot of things, and so I can see why that was the case. But it's also like, okay, knock it off. Your sister's in college now, or like your brother is with his partner, or whatever. Like, it's like, worry about yourself.
Yeah. And so then we also have her brother and sister-in-law, or I think it was her brother and sister-in-law.
Yeah.
And then they're going to go travel the world is their plan.
Yeah.
And it turns out she ends up pregnant, which is very unusual to have like a pregnancy test. And
when she went to get the pregnancy test at the local Mr. Donahue's Cocoa, whatever shop it was, I was like, clutch my pearls. I was like, what is happening?
That's right. And there was a meet cute in this movie with her and the Victor Webster character meeting over the sassafras candy canes.
Which I never knew existed.
Yeah. And it kind of made me laugh because last year there was a movie where the whole basis was on these crazy flavored candy canes. And,
amazing.
And I was like, it must be, there's part of the Hallmark cinematic universe. And sassafras, it's kind of like root beer.
Oh, well, then I'm on board.
Yeah.
Why did they just say that? Then I would have been like, no wonder they're fighting over it. I had no idea, I did not use Google as my friend during the movie.
That's why they were kind of brown colored. Is because it's sort of like root beer is how they taste. Like, it's a little different, but it's similar. There's sassafras, and then there's root beer, and then there's birch beer, and those are like the three kind of similar to root beer.
Wow.
They're like a little different, but
I'm learning a lot about candy cane flavors.
Well, in soda pop, you can get sassafras and birch beer. And, so it's pretty funny. There's actually here in Utah, there's a whole store that you can go to, which is all different kinds of root beer.
Oh, I'm on board.
Yeah.
After the
I'll take you
pandemic,
if
here
you
I
ever come
come.
visit.
Yeah,
Yeah, if you
after
ever
the
come visit,
pandemic.
I'll take you. I'll
Yeah,
take
I've
you to
never been to
the
Utah. Let's do it.
that would be fun. You should. I would love
Yeah.
it. I have a guest room. It's ready to go.
Perfect. Do you
Um,
accept cats or dogs?
we can make it work. We
Okay,
can make it
just
work.
checking.
Okay. So then you have also the grandma played by Paula Shaw, which I thought she was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, she was great.
Ridiculous and completely over the top with this German accent.
Yeah, I was like, as soon as she heard what was going on, she was at first confused.
Yeah.
Like, she, without a drop, like, not even a
Yeah.
second, she immediately had her character and was like, let's do this thing. And I was like, wow.
Yeah. She was like, "Ooh, I'm in."
She
That was
did. She
funny.
went all in. It was
Yeah.
great.
And then you also have the younger sister who pretends to be the chef,
Yeah.
and I thought that was the best part of the movie.
All
Is
the
her
food?
arc? Well, the food, what
Yeah.
she made, all looked delicious,
Yeah.
and they were acting like it was like crazy talk, which made me laugh. I'm like, oh, she's really going out there making soup.
I think it's because it was green that they were probably like, what? But I like how they like really forced though that she was like maybe quote unquote the problem child. She's changed all her
Yeah,
major. She has pink hair, like a little strand of pink hair, and I was like, she is the family rebel who then is
yeah,
like, and I was like,
a Hallmark's version of a rebel.
and I was like, do you know how many students of mine don't know what they want to do and have changed their major? It's like, it's different. Like, yeah, it's fine. But I think the reason why she was changing her major is because she wasn't finding what she wanted to do. And I agree. Her story was connecting her back to her mother, who she lost when she was a little baby or a little girl. And when she pretended to be the chef, she was able to find like all of her mom's old recipes. And that's where she discovered she wanted to become like a chef. And I'm like, that's amazing. But yeah, they were like kind of mean, like, oh, what did you make?
There's nothing I like more than a good pot of soup. It's
Yeah.
so delicious with like a real crusty bread with some
Yeah.
butter. That is living.
She also made like a breakfast sandwich, which seemed to have like queso cheese, like that texture of like queso cheese or melted cheese. Like you pour it on like it's nachos, but it's like on a breakfast sandwich, and they're all like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "That looks amazing."
I know. Yeah. I was with the guest who they think is the critic.
Yeah.
And because she's Beth Thompson is her name, and they know it's BT is the critic.
Yeah.
And she is played by Laura Soltis, and she's actually in both the movies we're talking about today, which is kind of fun.
What? Who was she?
Know.
Okay, well, we'll talk about who she was in Christmas.
She was in this, but she was also her mother. She played Lisa's mother.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought she was lovely in this movie. She seemed like a very lovely lady, and I was like, immediately,
she's eating everything. Like, this is delicious.
and I was like, is she being nice because her and the dad have chemistry, but then everyone's like, oh my god, it's so great, and then once someone says it's okay to eat, everyone's like, oh, thank God.
It reminded me a little bit of my grandma, who I love so much, and whenever she would talk about a trip that she had taken, it was always a food log. Of we went here and we had this delicious pastry, and then we went to the place, and then we had delicious sandwiches, and she would describe it, and that was kind of the way I felt about her character here. It was
I say, Rachel,
the food was sort of the main emphasis, I think.
Rachel, your grandma's my kind of lady. That sounds exactly like. And then we got macarons, and then we got and then we had
the best popcorn.
Oh yeah, the pretzels in Germany were outstanding.
Yeah.
But you know what's interesting about it is like you know, they don't really have faith in her, which I think as the youngest kid, like sometimes like they always see you as the little kid, you know what I mean? So I think there's
Yeah.
some of that, and obviously she's in college and she's changed her major, so they see her as wishy-washy. But really what it comes down to it is that they've all been so disconnected from what their mother did in a way, which was bring people together over food, or like they just had all these lovely memories of the food. And I think like that's what I'm trying. Her name was Amber. I think that's what she did for the family, was that she connected to her mom, and that she was being able to bring back these memories that they maybe hadn't thought about in a really long time. And I thought that was really cool. And I mean, I'm all
Yeah.
about food, so
Yeah, in fact, I was just thinking about that with my grandma because she passed away last year, and I was making for the first time. I had my friend over, so I had my friend Jen over, and
yeah.
I was making Cornish game hens for the first time.
Ooh.
And I know, fancy, fancy. And I found one of the cookbooks that my grandmother had given to my mom, and then I ended up kind of inheriting. And
Yeah.
she had written in the cover to my mom, and it just kind of reminded me of how my grandma would cook and some of her
Aw.
recipes,
Yeah.
and it brought back, because that really can, and there's that power in those recipes, and it reminds me of the movie Almost Christmas, which is delightful and people should see it, where the most of the movie, Danny Glover's character is trying to make his wife's sweet potato pie,
Aw.
and and till he finally finds the recipes and makes it, and it's the warmth and the love that comes from the memories that come from those family recipes. It's really
Yeah.
special,
I mean,
very
that
special.
makes sense. Yours was a little bit fancier than mine, but like because of the pandemic, I spent Thanksgiving by myself, and which is
Mhm.
fine. Like, you know, safety first, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And um, so I don't like turkey, and so I basically was like, all right, I'm making all the sides, but the most important side on Thanksgiving is my grandma's cheesy potatoes, and
Mhm.
I ate an entire thing of cheesy potatoes by myself over the last couple days, and I regret nothing.
Good. I'm glad.
But it does. It
That's so
reminds
funny.
me of all the times that, like, the memories of Thanksgiving. But one of the things is that it's so funny that these cheesy potatoes are so good. We would run down to the tables in the basement and try to sit by wherever it was so that we were sure to get some. And
Mhm.
she would make 2 or 3 servings of it because we had a big family. And then she'd always make it for my Uncle Paul. And then there's like one year he didn't get any. It's like, you snooze, you lose, boy.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Yeah. Um, so so they go out to this carnival, and uh they were kind of, she's sort of critical of her siblings for going to the carnival,
Because
but
they have to
she can
keep
go
up their
to
lie.
yeah, and I get that, but I feel like, I don't know, it's just like they can keep the lie up, and I don't know, I just felt like at that point, I don't know, I was just not feeling that whole storyline, I guess, and she's continuing, she gets to go out and she's bossing everybody else around, and I don't know,
Yeah.
I just didn't like it,
Yeah.
and and yet we're supposed to be invested in this relationship with her and Victor Webster, which I felt like kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel like them vibing, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden they have this kiss really early in the movie, and normally I would be a fan of that, but I was just like, where did that come from? I didn't even think that they were really that interested in each other, and then all of a sudden, and at that point, see, that's the point where she has to stop the lies, because
Yeah.
once you have you're kissing a person, then you start to be kind of an antagonist character, because now you're emotionally committed. You're kissing a person. You need to stop lying at
Yeah.
that point, I feel like. And
For both
but
of
she
them.
yeah, but then she keeps on lying, but then at the end she's all upset with him for not giving his actual name and using a pseudonym, which is way less of a lie than what they all did. So I was just kind of like, pot kettle, what?
Yeah, see, that's the thing, like, okay, well, first off, with her family, it's like she doesn't trust them or feels like she needs to do everything, and so, again, it's like, don't worry about it, worry about yourself kind of attitude, and I had that during the movie, certainly, like, let him go, let Grandpa enter the ugly sweater contest, like, calm down. But then also, like, besides maybe a good conversation by a fire outside the B&B, yeah, there was, and then the fighting over the sassafras root beer candy cane, there wasn't a whole lot because the story did seem to focus more on the B&B and the family. But then also, it's like getting to the part where she's like, okay, you have to help me keep this secret. She finally tells him, and then is mad when she finds out he's actually that person after snooping on his computer, even though it was directly in her eyesight. That's fine. But it's also like, it makes sense. Like, to be a successful critic maybe for him, like, he doesn't want people to treat him differently when he goes to the B&Bs. So that's how he gets more of an objective view. But like, when she said that, I think he should have come clean. But you're exactly right. Like, creating pseudo characters and going through all this nonsense and changing names or this, that, or the other thing, it's a little much. And I feel like people can give it out, but they can't take it. So it's the idea that it's okay for her to participate in this big secret or deceptive nature because she's trying to save the B&B for her dad. But it's not okay for him to do it when it's obviously important to his job. And so,
yeah,
I'm like,
and she doesn't even like the B&B, so it was kind of confusing, her motivation. And
is she just
I don't know.
bored? Like, maybe that's.
I mean, it's fine if she wants to say, well, her motivation is better because she's trying to save her father's inn. But that's what I'm saying. When you get to when you cross that line of like, now I'm kissing this person, I'm emotionally invested in this person, it's going beyond this sort of commercial transaction thing that's happening. That's when you have to tell the truth. That's when the lie has to stop. And so I don't know. That's how I felt with her, and I think it just hurt their chemistry. There's also I think there's a pretty big age gap between the two. I think he's 8 years older than her, and I think he could maybe feel it a little bit too with their chemistry. Again, she was in this one, Just My Type, in April with Brett Dalton, and that I thought they had a lot better chemistry. So
I was like, I don't really care. I want to see what Amber's gonna make next. More invested in, like, oh no, is the brother and sister-in-law not going to be able to travel with the baby, or what are they going to do, and that sort of thing. And
and
I thought their chemistry was lacking. Like, all the movies I've watched with you or talked to you about, I feel like, there's somewhere that chemistry isn't there, but this is one of the first times that I didn't really care about the relationship.
Yep. So. Yeah, because I liked the younger sister, the wanting to be a chef. That was really nice. I liked the relationship between this Beth Thompson and her father. Between Beth Thompson and Bethany Joy Lentz's father was really nice. And and then when the sister-in-law tells the brother that she's pregnant, I thought it was really sweet that it wasn't like they had to just put all of their plans on hold, that they'll figure out a new way to do it, a new way. And I remember with one of my sisters that she, for a long time, she had this idea that, I don't know, somehow getting married meant that she was going to have to revert to 1950s, life or something. And I'm like, no, you can be whatever kind of married couple you want to be.
Yeah, and it's up to you.
Especially your first baby. I think that you can have quite a bit of freedom with, I mean, I say this as a single unmarried woman, but I do think especially that first kid, you do have more freedom to kind of, because you don't have kids in schools, you don't have
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that make it a little harder when they're older. But nevertheless, your relationships are whatever you decide. You don't have to fit some kind of mold
Yeah.
of what you think it has to be. So I thought that was really cool that he said that, and that they're going to have the best adventure of all.
Yeah, and that he wants to do the adventure with her. And
Yep.
I think it's like it's up to the people in the relationship to decide what the relationship is, or what it's going to be. And yeah, I guess maybe I was just interested in everyone else except them. And
Yeah.
then
Except the maid couple. I know.
it happens.
So yes, then the end, they end up singing Elvis
Yeah.
outside, and that was kind of fun. And so overall, with 5 crowns, what would you give 5-star Christmas?
That's awkward.
I know.
Sorry, I just realized that. Maybe
I know, but he's so perfect. We were like 5 crowns to 5-star Christmas.
Yeah, awkward. Maybe
sadly,
like
no.
a 3.4.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna give it a 3. I didn't
Yeah.
hate it by any means. I just wanted to like it more than I did.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, let's talk about the Christmas Waltz.
Yes.
And this stars Will Kemp and Lacey Chabert. And they had previously done a Hallmark movie called Love, Romance, and Chocolate, which I really
Aw,
enjoyed.
that sounds cute.
It was really good. And it's after Avery's storybook Christmas wedding is canceled, a dance instructor helps her face her fears in life and fulfill her dream of learning to dance. And so, what was your overall thoughts about this one?
Can I tell you that when I saw the preview for it, I was like, I do not want to watch this. Like, I like Lacey Chabert. I really do. I mean, all the way back to Party of Five. Like, and
Yeah.
she's just been all the movies that we've watched or that I've watched with you. She's really enjoyable, and I think she's really good at doing Hallmark movies. You know what I mean? Like, I would watch, but I was like, I love dance movies. I love dance. The Waltz is like my least favorite, and I was like, how long is this? But I have to say, I really enjoyed it. And I was like, who is Will Kemp? I was like, because here's the thing, like, I was like, how are they going to do the dancing part of it? And so I did Google him enough to realize that he's trained in ballet. And I was like, okay. And then I didn't look up enough. Again, apparently Google I didn't want to spoil anything, I guess. I was just like, okay, he's trained in ballet. So cool. Okay. But I didn't realize that he's done other Hallmark movies. And so I really thought they had great chemistry. And I really enjoyed it. And maybe my expectations were like super tainted.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember what I gave it in the preview show. I think I might have been somewhere. I can't remember if it was an orange or a sock.
Yeah.
But in our preview show. But I was actually probably more excited for Will Kemp than for Lacey, even though I do love Lacey, but she's a bit hit and miss for me in her projects.
Yeah.
When she gets the wrong script, then she can be a little bit whiny to me. And
fair.
Not my favorite. But when she has a great script, absolutely adore her and love her. The first All in My Heart, I love Moonlight in Vermont. I enjoy her in Crosswords Mysteries. So I do enjoy her. But she's had a few projects that I haven't enjoyed. I've really enjoyed Will Kemp, and I loved talking with him. This I know, in June we did an interview, and he was so charming. And
that's what I was gonna say. He was delightful.
Yeah, he was so good. And the fact that I knew he was a trained dancer, now he's in this dance movie, so that was all very exciting. To me. And I thought that the breakup at the beginning of this movie was very well done. I felt it. And because sometimes when they break up with the bad man of business, you're just kind of like, yeah, why were you with that person in the beginning? Because he was obviously a jerk. But in this case, I felt bad for her, and I thought they
Yeah.
did it really well.
Yeah, kudos to that actor, because I know this is a strong statement, but I hated him.
Yeah, he was the worst. I was like, I actually wrote in my notes, I've never disliked Jeremy Gilbot more than at this moment.
Yeah, I was like, I never want to see him again. I'm breaking up with you.
Yeah, and that says something, because he played like a kind of a evil railroad tycoon guy in When Calls the Heart.
I was not understanding that Tycoon was going to come off after Railroad, and I was like, what did Hallmark do?
Yeah. And so I just thought that, so it started off really strong, as opposed to 5-Star Christmas, where I started off kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
With her, I immediately felt attached to her character, to Lacey's character, and I thought that it was also nice that her parents, first of all, that she was she was only child.
Yep.
And I thought they kind of addressed that in an interesting way. And the fact that her parents had like a totally valid reason for stopping her doing dance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because any parent faces that. Like, what do you encourage in your children? Because they can't do all the activities, so you have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
And the fact that they, as parents, were open to going to the event and supporting their daughter. And I liked that they weren't these just sort of one note judgmental people.
Yeah, because they even said, like, at the end, we don't want to discourage you. You're trying something new, especially after such a loss with the breakup and a canceled wedding and that sort of thing. Like, let's be a little bit more sensitive, people. Let's be supportive. And they were. So that was great. Yeah.
So she goes and she signs up for the lessons, and then she tries to cancel the lessons, but she cannot get through because there's no answer service, and they can never get through to the dance studio. And I have to say, I feel like something like that would feel a lot more unreasonable even just a couple of years ago, but now it seems like hardly anyone answers their phones these days.
Someone was like, can I ask you questions? And I was like, over text? Perfect. They're like, can you talk right now on the phone? I was like, you want me to talk on the phone? I don't even order pizza anymore. Like, come on. My phone is not for talking unless you're related to me.
Yeah, and even then, sometimes I'm like, I'll call him back.
Exactly. Mom,
but if
I love ya. Talk to you in an hour.
but if it's a number I don't know, I am not picking up the phone.
No.
Ever.
No. What is this, the 80s? No.
That's right. And so I kind of get it. I feel like that's realistic to our time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so she goes down, she decides to give the lessons a try. And they just have such great chemistry. And
it was, what's the word? Like, you could cut it with a knife. And maybe it's because I do like Lacey Chabert, and I didn't know who Will Kemp was. Like, I had to look him up. If I've seen him before, I didn't recognize him. And he was just delightful. Like, he was funny. He was charming. He was a great dance. Like, I just was like, I'm on board. Here I was all hating it beforehand. Like, I have to watch Christmas Waltz. I'd rather watch Christmas hip-hop routine, but whatever.
the accent makes him even sexier.
Yeah,
because he's obviously an incredibly handsome man, but then he has this accent.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. And didn't you love the scene when her friend brings her the Christmas tree? I thought you would love that scene.
Loved it.
It was so sweet, and I loved them, the two of them together, and that she's thinking about her friend having just gone through this breakup. She brings her the tree. It was very sweet.
Yeah, I wanted a little bit more of the friend, obviously, as someone who loves friendship, but I thought it was a wonderful friendship and it didn't feel forced. Like, we have to put friendship in this movie,
Yeah.
Like, it's like, no, if someone ends a relationship, your friend is going to be there. If you need someone to go to this
Yeah.
event with, your friend's going to come and show up in a dress and be like, why aren't you dressed?
Yeah. Well,
So,
and it was cool too because there was no ulterior motive to that scene.
yeah,
There was nothing else that was happening. It was just her and her friend decorating the tree as opposed
yeah,
to, let's say, her and her friend and and the guys are somehow there, or
yeah.
somehow there was no, that was it. That was the only purpose
It's
of that scene, was just her and her friend. So I appreciated
mm,
that.
we
Yeah,
need
it was
more of
cute.
that, Hallmark.
Yeah, it was really good.
Spin-off series, those just friends.
Yeah. And so then they have this flirty snowball fight, and she takes him down, which was hilarious.
Yeah, that was cool. I loved it.
and, and so he's got like a concussion and everything, and they have to go to the hospital. That was so funny to me. Um and the then she goes over the next day to his house and makes him breakfast, and I
Yeah,
just loved that whole scene. It was so funny and
yeah.
effective, and he's just kind of like, it's charred, and
No, I
he's
love
like,
it where she's like, I think you're like a breakfast burrito kind of guy. And he's like,
yeah.
what?
That's right. He's like, she says, I just saw these wraps. You see like a breakfast wrap kind of.
I was like, no, he doesn't. But it's like,
And
she's trying. She's like,
yeah,
she feels bad. He's got the Christmas waltz coming up. This is her teacher, and they didn't have like the best start, and now they're kind of getting along better or whatever. And so, like, I could see she's like going through these emotions to like, you know,
it was
try to help
so
him out.
cute.
And it was really cute. And that tree he had was
Yes.
awesome.
The tree he had, and then the little stacking,
Hmm.
whatever they call those dolls, the stacking
Yeah.
dolls.
I don't
They
remember
were
what those are called, but my grandma had them sitting on her windowsill when I was growing up. So
it
Russian
was so
stacking
cute.
dolls? No, there's probably an
I don't know.
official
I'm sure there's a
name.
correct
Yeah.
name, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was so cute. I
Yeah.
loved that.
Well,
And yeah, I just loved him. I loved the whole scene. I thought it felt real, but it was still
mhm.
funny.
Yeah.
And I liked both of their characters. It was great.
My favorite part of that scene before we move on was like, she's like, what is your name? And he's like, she just spent like 5 minutes like knocking on his door obsessively, going, Roman! And she's like, what's your name? Like checking on his concussion. She's like, you just yelled it 3 times. Sorry, that was my favorite
Yeah,
part.
no, it was good. So he invites her to come to his parents for their party, their Christmas
Hmm.
party. And she's kind of like, that's a big deal, right? And
Yeah,
he's like, oh, it's no big deal. And I'm like, no, that's a
that's
big
a big
deal.
deal.
Going to the parents, that's a big deal.
It says a lot even if you're like friends, and it's like, how
Yeah.
long have you known each other? Goodness gracious. And like just going in there and you don't know what you're going to expect or what, and they just want to thank her for taking care of him
Yeah.
with the concussion. I'm like, um, okay, mom and dad, I think you're wanting to set up more.
And I guess were his parents supposed to be Russian?
I had no idea what was happening.
Because I couldn't quite tell. I couldn't quite tell from the food, and I couldn't quite tell from her accent. Like,
And I
I
was like,
think
isn't
that's
he British? I was like, I don't know what's going on here. And then I'm like,
yeah.
the stacking dolls, like that leads more Russian. But yeah, I had no idea. And I was
Because
just like, whatever.
it was some kind of red sauce, but I'm like, it doesn't sound Italian. I was confused a little bit about
Yeah,
that,
I had
but
no idea.
but
I've
it
been
was
eating
cute.
cheesy potatoes for 4 days. I have no idea what was
But
going on there.
the whole scene at his house was really cute. I really enjoyed it. And then you have this great montage that I loved, that it was such a great way of showing the training montage
Yes.
where
Yes.
it goes from one outfit to the next outfit to the
Yeah.
next outfit all in sort of one dance. I thought that was very well done.
I love a good montage. And yeah, I thought it was really cool. And with dancing montage is great. And you can kind of see how the lessons and how their relationship is progressing. And I think that's always really cool. And I love that he gave her a stacking doll. They were supposed to go ice skating when they had the flirty snowball fight, and then he ended up with a concussion. And the stacking doll he gave her was a girl with ice skates. And I was like, perfect. The one on the inside should be snowballs, and the guy with the head with the bump on his head.
Yeah. That was so, I liked that too. And then they have this whole long sequence where they're literally like dancing down the street.
Yeah.
And I loved that so much.
That was really fun.
It was incredible.
This is the thing. Like, I just was like, I don't know why I was so like, ugh. And then I got in here and I was like, everything is wonderful.
I'm like, Hallmark meets La La Land. This is so exciting. I mean, I have never seen anything like that on Hallmark Channel before.
And go ahead.
It was just so charming, and I loved it. And it's as close as we'll probably ever get to my dream of the Hallmark musical. And he's like dancing like Gene Kelly. It was so fun.
Can I just say Gene Kelly is my favorite dancer? And this is about to be a bold statement, so listeners don't hate on me. But you brought up like Hallmark meets La La Land. Well, I have to say Will Kemp is way more charming than Ryan Gosling. Boom. Boom.
I mean, I'm not a La La Land hater by any stretch of the imagination. I enjoyed lots of different things about that film.
Yeah.
But this is more my jam than certainly the message and the characters on La La Land.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. It was so creative, and it was so I absolutely adored it. I thought it was so great. And I just love the fact that they're taking this kind of risks in this season of Hallmark movies, that they are doing things that are different. And like, even though I may not have loved Five Star Christmas, I'm excited that they took that risk. And I'm excited that they took this risk here. I absolutely adored it. And I mean, I have very few nitpicks with this movie. She wears a lot of black, which I didn't really love.
Yeah.
And
it felt like she wore a lot of pink, though, like the magenta dress. She had several magenta dresses, though.
And I was glad it ended on a white dress.
Yes.
Because I just don't like, Christmas movies shouldn't be black dresses. That's just my feeling. They should be red.
She had a black dress or black skirt that was long, and then had like at the bottom a sheer stripe, and then another black stripe. That was awesome. Everything else adds some color. It's holiday season.
But I do think her styling in general in the movie was really well done.
Yes.
And I thought that she looked really pretty.
Yes.
In all of, whether she was working or whether she was at the dance studio or in the formal looks, that she looked really beautiful. And I also liked the fact that the whole plot line with her at her job, I thought was done very well, because she was she made a mistake, and her boss understood like a normal human. They talked about it, she figured it out, she made it right. And that's how things would work in the work world, that a lot of times you have these unreasonable men of business who are, you got to turn this in on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like,
when it was like December 18th, he's like, see you in the new year. And I was like, what? They get like 2 weeks off at lawyers? I was like, do
I know.
But I didn't like that he came to her and said, I heard that you had a hiccup in your personal life. And I was like, ew, gross. But otherwise, yes. Like, I was like, different wording, different conversation. I also didn't like that her former partner, Jeremy, broke up, whatever his name was in the movie.
Yeah.
And he showed up, he had all these flowers and stuff, and he's trying to get back with her, and then he went to the studio and like basically told Roman that.
Yeah, that was the worst. I was so mad at him.
I was like, but I also was like, Roman, don't listen to someone that she ended a relationship with over her. Talk to her first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they have that kind of angry dance together.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they have Silent Night be the song. I mean,
Yeah.
I am normally not someone who cares about this so much. Like my friend Dory,
Yeah.
she really doesn't like that they will have like a sexy dance to "Oh Holy Night," which is ridiculous in these movies. I get it, but I don't know. To me, it's just background music. It doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
But Silent Night, I mean, just seems like a ridiculous song to have an angry dance to. Why are
No,
we?
they're like
What?
silent. They're not talking to each
Yes,
other.
yeah.
It's a little on the nose.
Yeah, when you're singing about Round Yon Virgin and you're dancing angry, it just doesn't quite work. And
Maybe that's why she had to go. She's like,
yeah.
I can't dance. I gotta go.
But I liked the scene still.
Yeah.
And so then her boss is reasonable. She's able to figure it out. She's able to finish. And her boss is played by Lane Edwards, who is one of my all-time favorite interviews we've ever done.
Oh, awesome.
I was laughing so hard that I was about crying. He's really fun. Anyway, and so then we get to the big moment. The professional dancer is caught in traffic, and so then she comes out and does the dance, and they have the kids dance first, who were
oh my
amazing.
God. Nikki, 3 snaps, kid. You were great.
It was so good. And then they dance, and it was so good. I mean, I know she's not a professional dancer, but I thought she did great.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
Yeah, it's like one of those things like could have fooled me. Like she was so good standing up to someone who's trained dancer. I thought she was really good, and then it ended with a kiss, and I thought there was gonna be like another scene after that, and then it was like credits. I was like, oh, okay, well, they got their kiss.
Well, and I thought it was perfect because they have the kiss and with the snow and everything, and it felt like if I was watching that as an audience member, I would feel like, well, maybe they're just in character, right?
Yeah.
But we all know that this is more than that, and so that made it more fun, I think. And I just really enjoyed it. And
Christmas Waltz 2, hopefully coming soon.
Yes, I would definitely watch that.
Yep.
And I just really enjoyed this movie. So I would give, out of 5, I'm going to give this a 4.75. I liked it way more than I expected.
Yes.
But I thought, I don't know. I would say that scene with them dancing down the street is probably my favorite moment of 2020 Christmas movies. Hallmark.
That's amazing.
It's up there. It's up there with in the Christmas Bow. My other favorite scene is this in the movie The Christmas Bow when she plays the violin. It's a really great scene, beautiful scene. But I don't know. I just absolutely adored that. I thought it was so great. But what about you?
I'd give the same score. I obviously my expectations are at Christmas Joy, which might surpass it, but I still feel like I gotta hold on to my cookie crawl a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I did not want to watch this movie. Like it's like like okay, but it was delightful and it made me feel ready for the season.
Well, very good. I'm so glad. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to have you and talk about these films. Let us know if you're listening what you think of these 2 films. Did you like them and not like them? Put in the comment section or on Twitter. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And Alysa, where can people find you?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at Dr. Alysa Lucas, and I am on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Best Forevers Pod, and you can find my webpage at alysalucas.com.
Great. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, so check that out. And make sure you're following the podcast, the Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews for both of our podcasts. Please, we would be so grateful. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We sure appreciate that. We also have our patron group, which is a lot of fun.
Mhm.
And we have our merch store, which has all kinds of holiday inspired designs. So check that out. All that information is in the description section. So we so appreciate all of your support. And thank you so much, Alysa. And
Yes.
one last time, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays.
Bye,
Woo!
everyone.
Bye.